This is such a good book to listen to. I don't think that's what the fans wanted when they asked for something more. Millie don't need to square up with these neighbors. But when the necessary occurs, baby, there's no way I'm reading the third book. The prologue had me about to cut up. So romantic, so cute, so intense, so good. Hey, I feel like I need to put on my mask. I'm sorry, y'all. Just got so good and I was fully immersed and I was like, dang, I'm probably gonna read the third book now, so. So this is almost like a sneak peek of my like top 10. Okay, this Frida, you almost could have kept this. Husband is like Joyce. Okay, so last night I was like, you know what? It's time. Let's finally go ahead and get this out of the way. So I went ahead and I started The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. This is the third book in the Housemaid series. I absolutely loved book 1, ate it up, gave it 5 stars, will always recommend. Book 2, I still really loved, I enjoyed. I think I gave that one a 4.5, like it was so good. Then I read that little novella and Chow, it really could have been the prologue for this book. It just wasn't necessary, but I know that she said the fans are the one that wanted that book. I guess because in this book, they are already married and they have children and their children are older. And so people just kind of felt like, well, what the heck's been happening all those years? And so it's like, if you're going to give a short story, I feel like it shouldn't have just been about the wedding day. It could have been about that and the kids growing up or just so much more. It just wasn't it. That's all I'm going to say is like, it just wasn't it. I don't think that's what the fans wanted when they asked for something more. I think people were really looking for an in-between phase. And I'm only saying that because now that I have started reading this book and they have this new beautiful home that they've wanted, her and her husband, and she has 2 children. I never imagined that Millie would be a wife or a mother and a mom of 2. Like, this is just absolutely crazy. We basically get to follow her lifestyle as they get this dream home and live in the suburbs and try to be some level of a normal, because we all know Millie is not normal. She has a past. Her husband has a past. This one, Millie is still very much Millie. She's very ditzy. She comes up with excuses to kind of like overlook stuff or to be, you know, goofy Millie. Her personality and her being ditzy and creating these excuses is very much a part of the plot. It's how we can move through the story. And so that's still very true here. I am only 50 pages in, and like I said, it's just not all that suspenseful, but it's not a bad story. And I think it's because I went into this book with such low, I'm thinking like 2 1-star expectations here. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be insufferable. And it actually isn't. And I think it helps to go into it with the lowest expectation possible when it comes to suspense, mystery, and thrill. It's really not giving that, but it is still interesting to see Millie navigate adulthood, navigate wife and motherhood. Almost just feels like a conclusion of their story, you know, but it doesn't feel anything like the other 2. So I'll give you a quick synopsis about this one. They are in this new neighborhood. They get invited over for dinner by one of the neighbors, and the neighbors have a maid. The maid opens the door. Millie instantly feels uncomfortable. She has a vibe about this lady that she does not like. And the lady is giving her the creeps. And then they're like, oh, you know, maybe she can come work for you guys. And they're just like, oh, I don't know. It's not really in the budget, but like whatever. I see here on the front, it says she lives next door. She knows your secrets. And so I don't know what that's about. Maybe it could be the neighbor, the homeowner, the maid. It could be this other lady she met at the bus stop. I will say that the book is funny. I don't know why, but I'm having a decent time. It's not terrible. And I think it's because you guys have already set that very low expectation for me. You guys, Millie gonna need to square up with these neighbors. I'm just saying, these neighbors are trying it. And I'm just like, Millie, these women, they need to have some boundaries and you need to show them who is the boss. I will say this is obviously not a 5-star read. This is obviously not the best book, but I don't know why. It's decent. Like, I don't know. And I don't have these wild expectations anyway for Frida's books. I would say I'm at least like 65, maybe 65%, something like that. So I'm a little bit more than halfway through the book. And yeah, I think now is when it's going to finally start getting good. I don't know, you guys, but I'm just happy that we are finally finishing it. I finished The Housemaid is Watching, and I really loved and enjoyed the suspense around Millie and her husband. It's like, is her husband a douchebag? Is he a liar? Is he keeping secrets from her? Or is the plot just making you feel that way? I also really loved the epilogue. I feel like the epilogue was epic. It was actually the best part of the book, which that says a lot, right? But I feel like the book could have been so good. This book could have been so good. but it wasn't. It was not so good. But I think everyone that has read the book by now, they know that it's very 3-star, very middle of the road. But yeah, the epilogue, to me, it just feels like it brought the whole story together. Like there was unanswered questions or gaps or characters that kind of didn't get their highlight, and it was just like, they got that shine, and we got those questions answered in the epilogue. I also feel like the reason this book wasn't as good as it could have been, it was just trying to fill in certain gaps for us because they were already married and the kids were already so big in this book. But I feel like it could have been done better. We didn't need all of that at the beginning of the book. We could have had that sprinkled throughout, or like I said, she could have just done a better job with that short story. But this was already written first, obviously, so then she couldn't do probably as much as she wanted to do in that short story. But the way that this epilogue was done, it makes me feel like the author, Frida, is going to set up a new series or another book for either the maid or Millie's daughter, or even just Millie's kids in general. Maybe it will follow them, and then Millie and her husband get to be in the background. So those of us that just love and enjoy Millie and her husband, and I'm only saying husband because it's kind of a spoiler if we give away his name, but he is a named character. I just keep saying husband, and other people might have said his name online. I'm not really sure. I haven't really watched any reviews on this book. I will say that it does not feel like a thriller until you get to about chapter 40, which is 200 pages in. That is crazy. So most of this, very low suspense. The most suspenseful thing is just they have this house with windows that do not have like curtains or blinds or anything like that, and so she feels like someone might be looking in the window, but that's like the most suspenseful thing you get in the first 50 pages. I kid you not. And then from like 50 to like 200, you get little breadcrumbs, but it's nothing overly thrilling. The real thrill happens between 200 and the end. So really this book could have been this big. Which is crazy. The ending was disturbing. You don't really see the plot twist coming. A little bit, but not really. It is one of those things that Frida does well, where the plot twist can just come out of left field. It can be kind of crazy. But this one did have a very disturbing storyline around it, which to me was very unnecessary. I feel like she could have went in another direction, and I can't, again, say too much without giving a lot away because there's not much in the book. So you do kind of want to just read it and get what little bit of excitement you're going to get from it. But I'm not mad at it. I feel like Frida's writing style is just her writing style. Her biggest downfall with this is just the beginning was so lackluster. There is no suspense and no thrill really. It just feels like a women's fiction book, and I think that's why people hated it so much. The second half of the book, it's actually very good. It's almost unputdownable. You really want to know what's happening. It's moving. You know, there's a lot of twists going on, a lot of moving parts. The story is finally built out and fleshed out, and so you're just like, okay, here we go. And then it just kind of wraps up quickly and disturbing. So you're just like, okay, this Frida, you almost could have kept this, you know, but it is what it is. Sometimes the wrap up to a series is just not always as good as the first, or even as good as the second. It's hard to even get that second time to be good. So yeah, she could have really just stopped after book 2, but I am happy to have read it. It is off the list. We are done with this series. I do not have to carry it with me into the new year, so that makes me so happy. Would I recommend? Yeah, if you read the series, you might as well, because even though this book wasn't phenomenal, it's still entertaining. I think this is just one of those books you have to know what to expect before you get into it. Since I knew what to expect, it was fine. It read exactly how I thought it was going to read. Didn't have high expectations, wasn't expecting a 5 or a 4-star. I did end up giving it a 3, which I thought I would probably give it like a 2. So yeah, we get to check this off the list. On to the next one. We're officially reading Iron Flame. I'm so excited. So I just made it about 202 pages in, so that's cool. I'm doing this one in tandem with the audiobook. So now that I'm home, hi Lily. Now that I'm home, I am going to just get to the physical copy. But earlier when I was at work and like running errands, I was able to listen. So that was very nice because this one is way more action-packed than the first book. There are a lot of moments where it was a lot of world building and I kind of had to like rewind, or I think that's even why I stopped. So I started this book months ago, like right after I got it, which was, I think this book came out in January or February, I'm not sure. But anyway, I started reading it then. I made it about 100 pages in, and it was so much world building and just kind of like a recap from the last book. I just wasn't having the best time, and like I can't say that I'm having a blast now. Like with book one, I was having a blast. This one, I'm having a decent time. It's nice, you know? But yeah, it is way more action packed. So if you did not like how the first book lacked action, you will enjoy that this one has more action. We are getting moments of like spice now, which is really cute and really fun, because that was kind of driving me nuts at first when it was like, come on, like you two, I don't know if I can say names, but I'm like, these two individuals, like, get on with it, okay? Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So I don't have much to say because this is a sequel, so you have to be very careful with sharing of names and just different things that are going on. We really get to see Violet move to the next phase of training, okay? It says that now that the real training begins, and Violet's already wondering how she'll get through. It's not just that it's grueling and maliciously brutal, or even that it's designed to stretch the writer's capacity for pain beyond endurance. It's the new vice commandant who's made it his personal mission to teach Violet exactly how powerless she is, unless she betrays the man she loves. And with the audiobook, it's so good because she, the narrator is just so theatrical with her voice, and I absolutely love that. But yeah, I don't really have much to share right now, except I'm having a decent time and it's pretty action-packed. Iron Flame update. So I am making chocolate chip banana bread for the first time ever. So I hope that this comes out okay, but I had to give you guys an update. So first of all, this one is a lot spicier than the first book. I also like the level of loyalty. I was just telling my husband, I'm like, wow, this book is way more violent. It's way more action-packed. This might be too much fantasy for me, but it is so entertaining. It's so engaging. I'm actually listening to the audiobook right now. I highly recommend. She's very theatrical. It's very dramatic. It's very fun. She changes her voice so you feel like you're listening to an entire cast. I feel like this might have been a good one to listen to, like the graphic audio. But anyway, it got really violent, okay? These scenes are graphic. Violet is like trying to be loyal. She's taking one for the team. She ain't no snitch, you feel me? So the cadet, or what is it called, Mike? A commander? The commandant? The commandant, whatever he's called. He was like, you better tell me who was with you when you did that thing. And she was like, I'm not saying. And then in the book, they said she held her chin up, right? So he slaps her, right? A woman. This man slaps this woman. So I'm already like, okay, this is jarring to visualize. Then she's still standing strong. She's still taking one for the team. She's like, I'm not even gonna bring my friends down with me. She's already dealing with a lot of grief from a friend that died in the first book, and even just people that have, you know, died in this book. And so we do get to see her, you know, navigate grief and loss, which is really sad. And so because of that, she loves her friends. I love the banter between her and her friends, her and her dragons. It's so good. Loving the new characters that have been introduced. So because she has these new friends, she's like, I'm not jeopardizing my friendships. I'm not getting any more of my friends hurt, so I'm just gonna take the blame for this particular situation. And so this guy like bends one of her fingers back, and then it says he dislocates another one, and I'm just like, ouch! Oh God, this is so violent. This is so graphic. This is so much more fantasy than I think even I can deal with. But if you like fantasy, I think that the second book is going to be a lot better than the first. This one is very well balanced between like the action scenes and then like the romance scenes. It's not as terrible as I thought, but I think it's just because I'm not a fantasy girl. It's just so action packed and it's just so visual for someone like me. But I am still having a really good time. So romantic, so cute, so intense, so just I love it so much. Oh yes, the banana bread looks like it came out good. Could have took it out a little bit sooner, but I cannot wait to crack it open and let you guys see. Oh, I think it's still too hot. So I did chocolate chips instead of nuts. And how's it taste, husband? In other news, I I made chili and it is so good. But we need to get into this because some goodness just occurred. Child, I look an absolute mess. It's fine. I'm getting ready for bed. This is so good. Oh my God. First of all, chapter 35 was extremely epic. It was just such a violently good chapter, and it was almost what you've been waiting for the entire book. But this just is so good. So I feel like I need to go back and read the last couple pages of Fourth Wing so that I can make sure it's okay for me to say certain names. So that's why I'm being very vague with names. Okay, so she says, "You'll lose everything you've worked for. My voice breaks because of me." And then he says, "Then I'll have everything I need." We love it, right? He lowers his face, leaning in, so he's all I see, all I feel. It's so dramatic, right? He says, "I will happily watch Artia burn to the ground again if it means you live." Oh my gosh, it's so romantic, right? So then she's dramatic, and then she says, "You don't mean that." And then he's like, "I do. I'm sorry if you expect me to do the noble thing. I warned you. I'm not sweet or soft or kind, and you fell anyway. This is what you get, Violet. Me. The good, the bad, the unforgivable. All of it. I am yours." Oh my gosh, stop it. Look at husband is like Joyce. It's so dramatic, but it's so cute, okay? His arm wraps around the small of my back, holding me steady and close. "You want to know something true, something real? I love you." Oh my God, not the L word. We've been waiting for this moment. Listen, I'm done. Oh my God, I was like, this is so cute. I was like, okay, you know what? Enough of this audiobook. I need to just like get up in it. I just had to give you guys that romantic update because like, I feel like I've been waiting on this moment for so long. Finally finished Iron Flame. I am so happy that I got this book read and done before the end of the year. And I will admit, like, the first, I want to say, was it like maybe 250? Yeah, about the first 250 pages. I was just like, there's no way I'm reading the third book. But then after that, the action picked up and just the suspense and then the tension, and it just got so good and I was fully immersed and I was like, dang, I'm probably gonna read the third book now. So I was like, oh man, I think she might got me. Yeah, I had a good time with this. I thought that it was fun. Like I said, it was extremely action-packed. The ending was so climactic. It was emotional. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit, just a little bit. It was slightly confusing at first. I had to actually go back and like reread it because I listened at first to the end because the scene was just so intense and so action driven and violent, and I was like, ooh, the narrator, like, I promise you, this is such a good book to listen to. It's very vivid and violent and there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of tension, and so she does such a fantastic job of narrating it. But then I was like, okay, I need to go back and like just physically read it slow and just really gather what just happened here. Once I got it, I was like, okay, this is a very explosive ending and I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie though, I did after a while start to get a little bit bored, even after it was very action-packed and intense, just because I don't think I'm a fantasy girl. I just don't. But I did have a good time. I can't say that I didn't have fun. And I thought it was very nice to accompany me while I did some chores and things like that. Like I said, it was just such a good book to listen to because I got to visualize it. Yeah, so I would say if you read the first one, you might as well carry on to the second one. The start, prepare yourself to be like, I would definitely say read the first one if you want to read this one. I wouldn't just read this one by itself. But yeah, if you read Fourth Wing, I feel like it's nice to go ahead and give it a shot. And I will continue the series, but I don't think I need to continue the series like right away. I think the book comes out in like January. Again, I'm just not a fantasy girl, and so no matter how good and action-packed and fun and thrilling it is, I just still don't care. I only care about certain parts of the book, and so yeah, I'm just not a fantasy girl, and that's fine. But I will continue the series. So that's the most important thing. The next book that we are going to tackle is Veronica Ruiz Breaks the Bank. This is only a really short little 2-hour listen, I think it says. It's a very highly requested short story following Vero, which is Finlay's partner in crime in the Finlay Donovan series. I love this series. It's so much fun. It's definitely more like a cozy mystery, so it's not going to be as action-packed as Iron Flame. That's why I was like really happy to go into this book next, to kind of just like calm me down and get me ready for our next book after this is going to be The Winners. I cannot wait. I know I'm going to cry. I know it's going to be emotional, and I think it's going to be super exciting and cool just to get a glimpse of Vero's past. Yeah, and I'm just excited to know more about her backstory and, you know, how her and Finlay all came about. Did I say Finlay? It's Finlay. But you do know how they met, but like I said, it's just nice to get basically a full POV dedicated to just Vero. Good morning. So I needed another sip. I'm getting ready to go to church. I literally have a couple minutes before I get dressed and get going. So I just wanted to update you guys, because since I'm ushering, I'm just gonna go and then they're gonna stay here. But anyway, I finished the Veronica Ruiz Breaks the Bank. It was so cute, and it answered questions that readers might have had up until this time, just about Vero and her past and a certain relationship, like a family member and like a love interest. So that was kind of nice. I think it was very well paced. It was quick and it was well balanced too. It was enough backstory, a little bit of action, a little bit of mystery. So it was good. I think it was just like a good little, you know, filler to get Vero's POV, and I liked it. I would recommend it if you are reading the series, but if you don't read it, it does not take away from anything, if that makes sense. Like, it's nice to read, but if you don't, it's really not the end of the world. But baby, what is the end of the world? You need to continue the series. If you are reading the Beartown series, the prologue had me about to cut up, because we immediately find out that we are losing one of the main beloved characters. That devastates me. I really like this character. I think I'm like 100 pages in now. Yeah, and it is so sad. It is sad. It's also like real heavy on the telling as opposed to showing. So if you don't like that style of writing, you're not gonna like this. This one, unlike Iron Flame, you actually could read this as a standalone, which is weird. I wonder if he intended for it to be that way, because you get such a great recap, which normally I'm annoyed by if I go right into a book. But for this, I really appreciate, because I read the second book, I think back in the summer. So I'm really appreciating the recap, and it's done in a way where it's not wildly repetitive, but it's giving you enough, like I said, if you were just approaching this book for the very first time. You get a glimpse of who each character is and how they're connected and what has happened to lead us to where we are now. It's also really sad because I think someone else is gonna die. Like, what is going on, Frederick? The way that the story is being told, the narrator is like reaching out to people and giving them the news that someone has died. We as the reader don't know who yet, but someone has died, and then I guess they're gonna be coming back for like a funeral. So this is like crazy. And I also think that it has fast forwarded like 2 years. So some of the kids are away at school and attempting professional hockey and just kind of doing their own thing, just growing up. Yeah, I think it's about to be really sad, and I cannot wait to get back home and read it. I finished The Winners. It was so good, you guys. It was so freaking good. I just love Frederick's writing style. I love these characters. I hate that we had to say goodbye to these characters. I hate that we had to say goodbye to a few of them permanently forever. I do feel like the ending was written in a way. Sorry about that. So I do have the flu. You might want to back up from the camera. I mean, back up from the screen, the TV, however you're watching. Oh my God. Dang, I feel like I need to put on my mask. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me get some tea. Hold on. So we are still drinking tea from Christmas cups. And this is the newest one to the collection. I just love it so much. And I do have a cough drop in, so that's probably what's, you know, breaking things up. But anyway, the way that the ending was left seems like there could be, I don't think there's going to be, but there could be a spinoff, or we could see a particular character come up again in like future books or something like that. But I do have to take a step back because I didn't even do a midpoint check-in. I was going to do a midpoint check-in, but then Christmas came, I got sick. I've been recording this video since like November, so I've been reading other books and recording other videos, and so I forgot to do a midpoint check-in. Thankfully, I do take notes while I read, and so I'm gonna take a little step back. We're gonna do a little bit of a longer update here, but I'm gonna try and keep it as short, compact, and sweet as I possibly can. So just looking over this note already, I'm just like, oh, I absolutely love this part. I remember this part. So we hit a part of the book where Peter and his wife, they were having like a moment of healing and a moment of togetherness, and I absolutely loved it. We do get to see in this book how sometimes in a marriage you can just start to go through the motions and become stagnant. You can start to just almost forget that you're on the same team and start to become at odds with each other, or just start to become roommates. And that's not a spoiler because we know from the back of the book that they do grow distant in their marriage. But when the necessary occurs, baby, that's what I love about husband and wives. It's like, it does not matter what was going on then, there, or wherever. Right now, right here, this is my life partner and I'm going to have their back. We are a team, and sometimes you do need to go through things to just have that to be fresh in your mind, fresh in your memory. Like, I'm not at war with this person, or it's like, you know that you've grown distant from this person, but sometimes you're like, oh God, since we're in this routine and it's okay, it's not really bad. It's like, how do we grow back together in a more like romantic way? And so it was just so beautiful to see them arrive to that point. They had no choice but to kind of like show up for each other and support each other. I absolutely love that part. Also love to see the teens when they were having fun, and after all that they've been through, it could have been so easy for them to just grow up and be not the greatest. I love that the book is like 2 years later, so some of them have tried out for the NHL, some of them have gone on to college, some of them are still trying to navigate and figure out what they want to do. Some of them have gone off and just completely drank their life away and given up on life's dreams and things like that. And so I like to see the coming of age for the teens, and I believe, are they still teens? They might be young adults. They're teens or young adults. I can't really remember, but anyway, it was really, really nice to see Maya and Anna and their friendship. Like, even though they don't get to talk every day, they don't get to see each other every day, they still picked up right where they left off. Like, they have so much chemistry, so much connection, such great banter. They have such a good friendship, such a solid foundation. Kind of reminded me of like me and my best friend. Like, we've been best friends for over 20 something years. It's outrageous. And we don't speak every day. We don't even speak every week. May not even speak every month. But when we speak, it's such a good time. Like, it's such a good time. I love low maintenance friendships that are just solid. And that's kind of what their friendship reminds me of. It's low maintenance, it's healthy, and they genuinely love each other. And I just love that they've still been able to maintain that as they've grown up. Because we know sometimes as you grow up, you do grow apart from your friends, and then some friendships you lose. And so I'm just happy that that did not happen to them. Another thing we get to see in this book is how the town rivalry goes too far yet again. It's like their town and Hit is just, it's bad. Like, it's so bad. And so this time it just goes way too far. But I feel like last time it went way too far too, but this time it just goes even further. And I'm just like, this town rivalry is just like absolutely ridiculous. And with the town rivalry, we do get some new characters introduced, which was kind of weird because I'm like, if this is the end of the series, why are we getting new characters? But these characters are not getting a major highlight. They're actually in the background, but their storyline, it directly correlates with some of our old characters. So it's really, really good. It's really good. And And I like that we don't have to focus on them so much because obviously we're here for the old characters, but we get to know them enough and why their storyline matters for this particular book. At the end of the day, I thought it was a very nice wrap up. I thought it was a very nice conclusion to the series. Definitely sad. Like I said, we all knew at the beginning that we were going to lose a particular character, so it's very sad that this particular character dies. I can't say how, just because to me that was the only mystery you get. Like, we know that the individual is gonna die, but we don't know how, we don't know when. So you're kind of like anticipating and waiting for it. So I won't say how, but what I will say is I love how the author handled the death, you know, with dignity, and it was just almost how you would expect that particular individual to go out. I did think it was gonna be a little bit different, but I'm glad it wasn't the way that I thought. This way was just as bad and sad, but because of the second book and what this particular character went through, I just was really nervous as to how this person was gonna go out. I'm just glad it wasn't what I thought. So simply put, if you want to just skip to this part, you don't want to hear my long-winded review. It's a story about love and revenge and living with pain and living with regrets and life's choices. It's a story about loss, but carrying on after that loss. It's a story about marriage. It's a story about town rivalry. It's a story about friendships. It's a story about finding yourself and knowing your people and knowing when to have someone's back and knowing when to speak up. Oh, it's just so good, you guys. It's so freaking good. It's about so many things. Clearly, I could just go on and on and on, but I loved it. I loved the series. I am so glad that I was able to finish it, and I'm so glad that I'm feeling better today. The last couple days, I have been out of it, honey. I've been asleep in this bed with all the medicine and supplements. So I was like, you know what, since I feel a little bit good, let me go ahead and give them an update because I have one more book to read. I am still not bringing any of these books with me into 2024. Today in real time, it is Sunday, December the 29th. So I did go ahead and get started on the last book, but I'm sure this clip is wildly long. So I'll let you guys know what the final book will be in the next clip. Ciao, I'm so hot. Being sick is just not for me. I ended up getting the flu from Tristan. It is so ironic because her and I had COVID for Christmas one year. I'm always getting stuff from her because she is such a Velcro child, even still as a teenager. But yes, I did go ahead and start our last and final book. It was actually the perfect thing to get me through this illness. Look at her coming in here now. Oh, it's sunny. I'll be back. First of all, Mikey thinks he's all that because he's about to drive to work. First time, solo driving.
Like alone.
Like alone.
It's 20 minutes there and back. I drive by myself, basically.
You got this, big dog. Oh yes, I am going to color in my book tracker because can you believe I still haven't done it, and it's literally like 2 or 3 days left in the year. Like, I'm a hot mess. Anyway, so yes, I started, what's the name of the book again? Finlay Donovan, the last book in the series, and it's Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice, and it's so freaking cute, you guys. I'm actually enjoying and loving this one just as much as I love the first one, which is really weird. My girl Angie is back on the narration. She does not narrate that short story by Vero, which makes sense because her voice is supposed to be Finlay's voice, not Vero's voice, so I get it, but I just love her narration, and I really missed it in that little short story. Okay, so the synopsis for this one, we have Vero and Finlay. They want to go on a little girls trip to Atlantic City, baby, and the ex-husband is like, oh well, you can't take the kids out of the state if I don't sign off on it. So basically he's gonna go on the girls trip with Vero and Finlay, and then mom's like, I'm not letting him go with you guys and not me. Somebody needs to watch the kids, and then if I'm not here, what will this look like to your boo thing, Finlay? I don't want to say a name because a name can be a spoiler. So Finlay does have a boo, and I will admit that I am liking him more in this book than I did in the last one. It's not that I didn't like him in the other books, it's just a conflict of interest with this person, and there was 2 love interests for her at one point, and then the husband is always like looming there in the background, trying to reconcile, and we do get to see that here again. But I like how they're more so just trying to get to a place of healthy co-parenting and navigating through regrets and just having conversations that did not get had when they were husband and wife. And so I'm really enjoying this one because it does feel again like this silly mom who has just gotten herself in a whirlwind of trouble. So the Russian mobster is out on the loose, and that's another reason that her ex-husband Steven wanted wanted to come with her. He's like, I'm not letting you or the kids go to a whole nother state with this Russian mobster, and I'm not there to protect my family. And the whole purpose of the girls trip is really a cover-up. So they were actually going to this girls trip to negotiate in order to get Vero's boo back. Again, this is all in the back of the book. This is all in the synopsis. No spoilers here. Still battling the flu. So they arrive to Atlantic City, and then Finlay asks her ex-husband to do her a favor, and I'm just like, bro, you better do it. You owe me this solid after everything that you have put me through. I feel so conflicted about him. It's like, I like him and they could have got back together, but then also you should have stood on business when you had me. You fumbled the bag, bro, and now you're done. Especially now that new revelations have come about. It's like, we don't need them reconciling. Let's keep her with her boo thing and let's keep this party moving along. But I am going to go ahead and shade in some of my books while I listen, because this I am listening to through Libby. Hopefully gonna be my last day in this room. Today is the first day that I have felt so good. I've actually been awake more than I've been asleep, and I love that for me because yesterday your girl was knocked out. Okay, so what I did was I took one color and I tried to go through and highlight some of my top books or like favorites of the year. So this is almost like a sneak peek of my like top 10, because clearly that video might be delayed because I am clearly sick. But some of them I could not highlight, or color I mean, because they're like right underneath a book that's already that same color. I want to try to do at least like the romances in one color, mystery in one color, you know, like my contemporary lit fix in another, and then books that were just like not my jam in their own color, just for me, just so I know. And I'll probably do like a little table of contents here because I'm probably not gonna need these books, but we'll see. But yeah, it's off to a good start. Okay, I finished Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice, and it was so cute. I actually enjoyed that book just as much as I enjoyed the first one. And I think it's because it just felt, again, like a mom just caught up in a situation that she had no business being in. The kids were present, so you got to just see her in mom mode. You get to see her be like a mother figure for another particular individual, which is so crazy because that particular individual was kind of shady in book 2 or 3, I can't even remember at this point. It totally reminds you of an actual girls trip where regrets occur, things happen, there's some good choices, some bad ones, and some you have to live with for forever. It was so funny. It was so much fun. It's basically a story about like taking people for granted, living with regrets, friendships. I really love the friendship between Finlay and Vero. You even just get to see her mother reflect on the friendship that they have and how that's something that she aspires to have. And so it does highlight their friendship and how they're willing to go through war, adventure, and crime and everything for each other. And I just absolutely love that for them. You get to see a lot more of Finlay and the love interest. This absolutely could have been the end of the series. It was wrapped up so perfectly, so nicely. I love the way that this book ended. The only reason there's gonna be another book, and I think it comes out in 2025, I forgot what month, is because of the epilogue. Something occurs in the epilogue, which is why we can even have another book. Without the epilogue, the book could have just ended and it could have just been totally fine. This was such a great audiobook. I will recommend the Finlay Donovan series on audio to everyone because Angela Dahl is the bomb, okay? That girl can narrate a book. She has such a unique way of narrating, and she creates suspense. She gives you the action. She gives you the adventure. She gives you the fun, different voices. Like I said, you feel like you're listening to a full cast and it's just one lady. in there reading that book. And so I just absolutely love that for us as the reader to have such a vivid and lively experience to listen to. But yes, I do want to show you guys really quickly my book tracker. It's so cute. It turned out so nicely. Today I'm feeling a lot better. Today's the 30th, so I'm gonna try and edit this and get this bad boy up by tomorrow. I would love that for us. Let me show you guys the book tracker because she's so cute. Cute. Let me let you guys see overhead. It's so cute. I am so pleased with the way that this came out. It's like, are you even kidding me? Love, 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 love. And let me just show you really quickly. So this was the breakdown. We have least favorite, top books, fantasy / magical realism, romance, thriller, mystery, lit fic, contemporary fiction, historical fiction, and nonfiction. So that is our grid, and these are our books for 2024. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was so much fun. It's taken me like 3-4 weeks to read these books, so I am just so happy to have this done, to have this off the to-do list, and now I can move into 2025 with a blank clean slate for whatever series I'm gonna start next, which drop them down in the comment section. Let me know if there's one that I should start. I have my eye on like 2. And then I'm obviously gonna finish Fourth Wing, Finlay, Donovan, which I hope the next book is good because this one was so good. Gosh, hopefully the next one is good, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna read it whether it's good or not, just because I love Finlay, I love Vero, I love hanging out with them. It's such a relatable book for moms, I feel like, and girlfriends, and it's just such a good time. There's no more Beartown series books, so this was it for us and Beartown and Head. That is it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching and being on this journey with me. I hope you have the most amazing new year. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Gosh, I forgot what the heck I was saying, but anyway. Oh yes, solo means alone. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of freaking out, but I think he has this. I know he has this. He's gotta have it. It's time. If they're in college, they're clearly young adults, but you do go to college at 18 or 19. Now I'm just rambling. Sorry about that.
Mommy.
Yes, love. I have such a headache. It's not even funny. Ciao, I hope we are in frame. My camera is broken. It works when it wants to work, and so we are recording on the cell phone. I highly recommend the audiobook, and I love how this one was wrapped up way better than the Housemaids. I feel like, Frida, you need to take notes. Let me stop. 1 and 2 were so good, and this is not so good. But I mean, it's the end of the series, so I guess this just has to happen. I don't know. I think somebody even commented that on the video, like just skip all the way to like chapter 40 or something like that. Literally a trip and a hater. You better get out before you get the you know what.
Gotta go to work.
Bye.